People will make you feel like being single is a problem you need to solve. But sometimes being single is an opportunity you haven't learned how to use yet. Some people fail to realize that being single is a literal career cheat code. You might be asking yourself, is being single better for your career? Well, freedom feels boring when you've had it your whole life. You only realize how valuable it was after you lose some of it. Being single can feel like you're falling behind in life. But career-wise, you might actually be ahead. Freedom is too vague of a word. What you actually have is optionality. You can quit, move, take a pay cut, change careers, start a business, go back to school, work insane hours temporarily, take a risky opportunity. You can even relocate overseas or disappear for 6 months and rebuild your life. And you can do all of that without another person's life being directly tied to your decision. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Uncle Ren. Let's get into why single people have more career flexibility and why admitting that makes people so uncomfortable. And I know this sounds like I'm just talking theory, but I've actually made career decisions like this myself. At my previous corporate job, a manager position opened up. I was qualified for it. I could have applied, but I was looking at all the extra stress, the extra responsibility, the new scope, and the complications that I anticipated, and even the stuff that I will never anticipate that will come up. And then the relatively small pay bump. And I said, yeah, screw that. Some people would scratch their head and wonder, why did I not take that opportunity? A lot of people will kill for that position. But yeah, it's not worth it. And looking back, I believe I made the correct decisions. And that decision actually changed my career. So I was already a team lead, a supervisor, leading a team of technical writers and editors. And when I noticed there was a new line of business within the company that needed a new marketing writer, so I gave up my team lead position and moved into marketing. So yeah, that was a pretty weird move at that time. I was basically giving up a leadership position to become a writer in a completely different part of the company. It was a risk. I was a newbie at marketing because I was a technical writer before getting promoted as a team lead. So yeah, almost the background for marketing is almost non-existent. And so that was the start of my marketing career journey. And then the pandemic happened. Most of my marketing career ended up being remote. Looking back, of course, it was a godsend, but during that time, the lockdown, the remote work was full of uncertainties. You know, a lot of jobs were lost. And thinking at that time, I think my job wasn't, I wouldn't call it in danger, but there's a lot of certainties surrounding it as well. But knowing I was in the healthcare sector, healthcare BPO, healthcare was making bucks during that time. If you know, you know. So the silver lining is when I work from home, instead of burning hours in traffic, I can just roll out of bed, take my time with my coffee, my breakfast, even do a quick workout before starting my work right at home. I completely bypass the annoying daily commute, the heat, and then when you go to the office, the cubicle drama, and all that stuff that I don't have to deal with. But eventually, in around late 2022, the company, along with other companies here in the Philippines, the company announced that we had to return to the office. And I was like, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I've been stuck at home for 2 years now. But suffering the traffic and the unnecessary corporate BS within the physical office really solidified my decision to say, hell no, I'm out, I gotta bounce. So I made another risky decision. I left the company I've been with for 7 years. A little over a year as a technical writer, and then like around 3 years as a team lead, and then a little over 2 years as a marketing writer. So, to go fully remote, I took a job at a marketing agency based in Detroit that let me kept working 100% fully remote. It was a no-brainer. And I thought, why the hell would I go back? I could do the exact same job from my house, sometimes literally in my boxers. In fact, I'm recording this now. I'm in my boxers. I could wake up whenever I wanted, skip the traffic, and actually run my own schedule. I was suddenly making my own hours without losing a chunk of my day to the road. And I actually made more per hour. Could it be better? The pay? Yeah, of course. There's no perfect job. There's no perfect pay. But yeah, it's much better than the previous one, along with the other French benefits. If you know, you know. And the main downside, yeah, I had less job security. I knew I could potentially get fired whenever the boss decided they didn't need my services anymore. And I was willing to accept that risk because at that point in my life, I could. If the job disappeared, I was the one who had to deal with the consequences. I didn't have a nagging wife asking, how are we going to pay the bills? I told you not to resign from that corporate job. Why did you risk it with this remote job? And I don't have any kids asking, Dada, are we still okay? Are we still gonna go to Disneyland? Are you still gonna buy me my favorite chocolate? We still have money? Dada, are we poor? No, it was just me. So I could afford to make a career decision that looked responsible on paper because I was the only person responsible for the consequences. And that's the advantage I'm talking about, guys. Being single doesn't magically make you more ambitious, but it gives you optionality. You can take risks that become much harder to justify once another person's life is tied to yours. So, why does marriage affect career decisions if it's still not obvious? Here is the twist. When you get married, the cost of a bad career bet instantly skyrockets. You aren't just gambling with your own money anymore. If you're married, your career isn't just your career anymore. Your career affects your household income, your rent or mortgage, your children's future, your partner's career, your location, lifestyle, savings, basically all your responsibilities. And even if your partner is supportive, you're naturally going to think twice. That's rational. Once you sign the papers, the marriage papers to be specific, every major career decision becomes a joint decision. And understandably so. That makes sense, of course. Marriage gives your partner a vote on your career, and they earned it. But that vote still costs you something. Consulting your partner is correct, yes, but correct is still slower. A spouse who questions your risky move is doing their job. The job just happens to slow you down. When you are on your own, sleeping on a friend's floor is a valid backup plan. But when you're married, obviously that is not an option anymore. And you can't just look at your partner and say, hey, let's just eat Lucky Me and some 555 sardines for the next 6 months while I try this business idea, okay? No, of course not. And there's a difference between not dating anyone and not being legally or factually tied to another person's life. A boyfriend or girlfriend relationship can matter, but marriage takes the stakes to another level. Marriage is essentially a contract that says your life is no longer your own. So does marriage limit career opportunities? Not necessarily. Done right, marriage is actually a beautiful thing. I've discussed this in my other videos. But it's also a permanent career negotiation you signed up for. Being single gives you a career advantage married people simply don't have. You can make a stupidly risky decision without ruining somebody else's life. Let's pause for a second. If you're watching from the Philippines, the US, or anywhere in the world, I want the pulse on this one. Drop a comment below. Did staying single actually open a career door for you, or did it just mean there was nobody to catch you when the move went bad? Let everyone know in the comments, and maybe they get inspired or learn from your experience. And now, to be fair, there are two sides to this coin in relation to my question. A married couple with two incomes can absorb a risk that could or would flatten a single guy on just one salary. A partner who tells you your business idea is trash before you spend the money just saved you money. We gotta admit, guys, sometimes we just have these crazy ideas that we need what do you call this? A sounding board. What do you call that when you bounce your idea to another person? And sometimes when you hear your idea back being dissected by another person, you realize that your idea was not feasible. It just doesn't make sense. And also, there's a catch. Filipino single and Filipino financially single are two different things. Yes, you might not have a wife, but you might still be sending money back home every 15th, every 2 weeks. I believe some of you have no spouse, but you got 4 dependents. Unfortunately, you maybe have siblings or ailing parents that you need to support. Sometimes some of you are supporting cousins. So this whole advantage doesn't work for you, sadly. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But I hope these kind of things get sorted out. Because in the end, it's your life. It's your life, man. But if you're truly unattached, you cannot take real risks when someone else's entire life is tied to the outcome. Like I said, if you're single, a bad career bet costs you 6 months of instant noodles, canned goods, or eating punko-punko here in Cebu, or for my Tagalog viewers, turo-turo. While if you're married, it costs the household. So yeah, the career advantage that married people lose is the ability to say, screw it, I'm starting over. If I was married while I was doing those career moves, I don't know, I might still be stuck in corporate right now. When you're single, you can destroy, quote unquote, destroy your own life chasing a better one. A single person can quit even a high paying job and figure it out later. A married person definitely have to do some explaining over dinner. In fact, if you're single, you can accept a job offer this afternoon and tell nobody. Just go with it. That's how it goes. Sit with how rare that is. We don't talk about this enough because it sounds like an attack on marriage, but it's more closer to accounting. In a country with no divorce, the contract you sign at 27 is still running the vote at 47. The years everyone pressures you to get married in the Philippines are the same years your career takes its biggest swings. A career move at 26, 28, and the same move at 36 or 38 are not the same move. One had 10 more years to compound. Look at your friends stressing over relationship drama. You have 100% of your peace and 100% of your paycheck. You won the lottery today, my friend. Stop calling it lonely. You are in the most dangerously free chapter of your entire life. So start acting like it. If you're single right now and grinding, stop apologizing for it. You're playing on a different difficulty setting. But I gotta emphasize this too, Freedom is useless if you don't use it. You can be single for 10 years and accomplish absolutely nothing. Zero. So, because the other side of this is that no one is pushing you to work hard and no one is relying on you either. No one is checking on your progress. You have no one holding your hand and no one counting on you to win. Without someone pushing you or waiting on you, it's just so easy to just stay lazy. And that's the downside. Being single gives you optionality. That's awesome. But that doesn't automatically give you discipline. Total freedom won't make you work hard. Having all the choices in the world won't build your career for you. Free time means nothing if you don't force yourself to do the work. So, if you're single right now, don't sit there thinking you're defective. Don't think you're too late. Don't think that you're missing out on something. Stop that FOMO. Don't look at your life and think you're behind. You might actually have more freedom than you'll ever gain. Use it. Build a career, move cities or countries if you have to or want to. Start that business. But of course, DYOR, okay? Do your research, your due diligence before venturing in that. But yeah, you can take the risk. Learn the skills needed. Become someone who has options. Because one day, you might have people depending on you. And when that day comes, freedom gets more expensive. Marriage is great for a lot of things, yes, but unrestricted career risk is not one of them. Choose accordingly. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.